On November 15, 2004, retired couple set sail from Newport Beach, California. Their names were Tom and Jackie Hawks. They had spent their entire lives building a dream, and that dream was their yacht. That afternoon, they left the harbor with a man they trusted completely. According to investigators, neither Tom nor Jackie ever returned to shore. Their remains have never been found. The man responsible for their disappearance had appeared on national television as a child. He had told everyone he was a famous actor. He had convinced an entire community that he was wealthy, successful, and trustworthy. His name was Skylar Deleon, and this is the full story of what he did and how he was caught. Every detail in this documentary is based on court records, police reports, and verified sources. This is the case of Tom and Jackie Hawks, a case that shocked California, a case that exposed the danger of misplaced trust, and a case that, to this day, still haunts the families left behind. To understand what Skylar Deleon became, we must first understand where he came from. Skylar was born in 1981 in Southern California. According to people who knew him as a child, he was quiet, withdrawn, and deeply insecure. His childhood was far from stable. Court records and family testimonies describe a difficult home environment. Those who knew him noted that from an early age, Skylar desperately wanted to be someone important. He wanted recognition. He wanted to be admired. According to investigators, this desire would eventually drive every decision he made. As a teenager, Skylar became interested in acting. He began attending auditions in the Los Angeles area. The competition was fierce, and success was rare. However, in the mid-1990s, Skylar managed to land a small role. He appeared as a background extra on the popular children's show Power Rangers. According to production records, he appeared in 3 separate episodes. He had no speaking lines in any of them. His total earnings from the role amounted to approximately $150. But for Skylar, this was not a minor footnote. This was the foundation of an entirely fabricated identity. According to those who knew him, Skylar began telling people he was a famous actor. He claimed to be a rising star in Hollywood. He spoke of future projects, upcoming films, and industry connections. Investigators later noted that none of these claims had any basis in reality. Yet people believed him. Psychologists who later studied the case noted that Skylar had a remarkable ability to project confidence. He made people feel special. He made them feel seen. And in doing so, he created a web of trust that would later become his most dangerous weapon. In his late teens, Skylar met a young woman named Jennifer. According to court testimony, Jennifer came from a troubled background as well. The two became close quickly and were soon married. Their first child was born shortly after the marriage. On the surface, they appeared to be a young family trying to build a life. But according to financial records examined during the investigation, the reality was very different. The family had no stable income. They were living in a converted garage with no proper bathroom facilities. Jennifer was now pregnant with their second child. According to investigators, the financial pressure on the family was immense. It was during this period that Skylar's thinking shifted in a dangerous direction. He began spending significant time online. According to digital records recovered during the investigation, he was searching not for work, but for an opportunity. And then, one afternoon in 2004, he found what he was looking for. A listing had appeared on a popular online classified site. A couple was selling their yacht valued at approximately $500,000. According to investigators, it was at this moment that Skylar began to form a plan. A plan that, as evidence would later show, he had no intention of abandoning. To understand the full weight of this case, we must first understand who Tom and Jackie Hawks were. Tom Hawks was born in 1951 and grew up in the American Midwest. By all accounts, he was a hardworking, deeply principled man. Jackie Hawks, according to family members, was the kind of person who made everyone around her feel at home. The couple had met decades earlier and built a life together rooted in adventure and family. Their greatest shared passion was sailing. Over the years, they had sailed thousands of miles across the Pacific Ocean. Their yacht, named the Well-Deserved, was not merely a boat. According to family members, it represented everything they had worked for together. By 2004, Tom and Jackie had reached a point in their lives where they were ready for a new chapter. They had grandchildren they wanted to spend more time with. Selling the yacht was a difficult but deliberate decision. According to their son, Ryan Hawks, his parents had discussed the decision carefully. They placed the listing online in the summer of 2004. The asking price was $435,000. Several potential buyers contacted them over the following weeks. None seemed like the right fit until Skylar Deleon made contact. According to phone records, Skylar first contacted Tom Hawks in September 2004. He introduced himself as a former child actor with significant financial resources. He expressed strong interest in the yacht and requested a viewing. Tom and Jackie agreed and arranged a meeting at the harbor. Witnesses at the harbor later recalled that Skylar arrived looking confident and well-dressed. He spoke knowledgeably about sailing and appeared genuinely interested in the vessel. Tom and Jackie were reportedly impressed by his demeanor and enthusiasm. Over the following weeks, Skylar visited the yacht on multiple occasions. He brought his wife Jennifer and their young child on one of the visits. According to Tom and Jackie's son, his parents had grown genuinely fond of the Deleon family. They trusted him completely. That trust, as investigators would later determine, was tragically misplaced. To fully understand this case, we must also examine the role of Jennifer Deleon. According to court records, Jennifer was aware of Skylar's plan from an early stage. Prosecutors argued that she was not merely an innocent bystander, she was an active participant. Evidence presented at trial showed that Jennifer had accompanied Skylar on visits to the yacht. She had helped build the relationship of trust with Tom and Jackie. Bringing her child to those visits was, according to the prosecution, deliberate strategy. A young family with a baby was far less likely to raise suspicion. Tom and Jackie saw a young couple with hopes and dreams, not a threat. According to the evidence, Jennifer helped sign fraudulent documents during the crime. She was later convicted as an accomplice and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. At trial, her defense argued that she had been manipulated and controlled by Skylar. The jury, however, found this argument unconvincing. The evidence, they determined, pointed clearly to her willing participation. By the autumn of 2004, the Deleon family financial situation had reached a breaking point. Creditors were calling. Bills were unpaid. The rent on the garage was overdue. According to investigators, it was during this period that Skylar began recruiting accomplices. He approached two men he knew, Alonso Machain and John Fitzgerald Kennedy. According to court testimony, Skylar outlined his plan to them in clear terms. He would pose as a buyer for the yacht. He would gain the trust of the sellers. And then, once they were far enough out to sea, they would take the yacht by force. Both men agreed to participate. According to statements made during the investigation, Skylar's plan was methodical and calculated. He had already spent weeks building a relationship of trust with Tom and Jackie. The final step was to arrange one last trip on the water. According to investigators, the date was set for November 15, 2004. The morning of November 15, 2004 began like any other day at Newport Harbor. Tom and Jackie arrived at the dock early, as was their habit. Skylar arrived shortly after, accompanied by his two associates. According to witnesses at the marina, everything appeared completely normal. The group boarded the well-deserved and set sail into the open water. Skylar had told Tom and Jackie that he wanted to experience the yacht at full speed. They sailed several miles from the coastline. At that point, land was no longer visible in any direction. According to the testimony of one surviving witness, Skylar then gave a signal. What followed, according to court documents, took less than 10 minutes. Tom and Jackie were restrained by Skylar and his associates. They were prevented from communicating or calling for help. Evidence presented at trial showed that the ownership documents for the yacht were produced. According to the prosecution, the couple was forced to transfer ownership under duress. Court records confirmed that Tom and Jackie were then bound and thrown overboard. They were alive at the time. According to witness testimony presented during the trial, search and rescue teams were later dispatched, but found no trace of the couple. The Pacific Ocean, investigators noted, had left no evidence behind. Skylar returned the yacht to the harbor. According to witnesses, he showed no signs of distress or anxiety upon his return. He acted, by all accounts, as if nothing unusual had occurred. Tom and Jackie's son, Ryan Hawks, became alarmed when his parents failed to check in. According to court records, the couple had a regular communication routine with their family. When days passed with no contact, Ryan reported his parents missing. The Newport Beach Police Department launched an investigation. Investigators quickly identified Skylar Deleon as the last known person to have been with the couple. When they attempted to contact Skylar, he cooperated, initially appearing calm and unconcerned. He claimed the couple had been alive and well when he left them. Investigators, however, found inconsistencies in his account. A warrant was obtained to search the Deleon residence. What investigators found during that search would prove to be the critical turning point in the case. Among the items recovered were the personal laptop and video camera belonging to Tom and Jackie. According to the evidence report, the camera contained footage recorded in the weeks before the disappearance. The footage showed Tom and Jackie happy, healthy, and very much alive. And then the footage stopped abruptly. The next recording on the same device showed the Deleon family celebrating a holiday aboard the well-deserved. For investigators, this was the evidence that broke the case open. Skylar Deleon was arrested shortly after. Jennifer Deleon was also taken into custody. Both associates Alonso Machain and John Fitzgerald Kennedy were subsequently apprehended. According to the evidence, Skylar had made a mistake. He had not anticipated. He had kept the personal belongings of his victims. That single oversight proved to be the foundation of the entire prosecution. The trial of Skylar Deleon began in 2008 and drew significant public attention. The prosecution presented a comprehensive case built on physical evidence, witness testimony, and financial records. Among the key witnesses called to testify was Ryan Hawks, the son of Tom and Jackie. According to court transcripts, Ryan's testimony was emotionally powerful. He described his parents as kind, generous people who had trusted the wrong person. The defense attempted to argue that the evidence was circumstantial. They pointed to the absence of physical remains as a weakness in the prosecution case. However, prosecutors countered with the video camera evidence, the financial documents, and the testimony of Skylar's own accomplices. One of the accomplices, in exchange for a reduced sentence, testified in detail about the events of November 15th. That testimony was among the most significant pieces of evidence in the trial. After deliberating for several days, the jury returned a verdict of guilty on 2 counts of first-degree murder. Skylar Deleon was sentenced to death. Jennifer Deleon received a sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. Both accomplices also received lengthy prison sentences. Ryan Hawks, speaking outside the courtroom following the verdict, stated that justice had been served. He added, however, that no verdict could return what his family had lost. The case of Tom and Jackie Hawks remains one of the most disturbing crimes in California recent history. It is a case that raises difficult questions about trust, deception, and human vulnerability. Tom and Jackie were not careless people. They were experienced, intelligent adults who had spent decades navigating the world successfully. Yet they were deceived by someone who had spent years perfecting the art of manipulation. The case also highlighted how dangerous it can be to confuse charm with trustworthiness. Skylar Deleon was not violent by appearance. He was likable. He was convincing. He was the kind of person you would introduce to your parents. And that, investigators noted, is precisely what made him so dangerous. As of the time of this documentary, Skylar Deleon remains on death row at San Quentin State Prison. Jennifer Deleon remains incarcerated and has not been granted parole. The remains of Tom and Jackie Hawks have never been recovered. They rest, it is believed, somewhere at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. Their yacht, the Well-Deserved, was eventually sold and is no longer in service. Their son Ryan continues to advocate for victims of violent crime. He has stated publicly that he thinks about his parents every single day. This case serves as a reminder that behind every crime statistic is a real family. A family that trusted. A family that loved. a family that was taken. Tom and Jackie Hawks deserved better, and it is our responsibility as people who learn about these cases to remember them, not as victims, but as people who lived full lives and deserve to continue living them. Thank you for watching Darkfulest Cases. If you found this documentary informative, please consider subscribing. New cases are uploaded every week. In the comments below, let us know what detail from this case surprised you the most.